All right, great. Well, good morning, everyone. As everyone's filtering in, let me just say thank you for joining us today. As the volume of research submissions grows, so does the pressure on editorial teams to maintain integrity without slowing down. Today, we are excited to spotlight Integra's EditorialPilot, an AI-powered triage and integrity platform designed to help you build future-ready workflows. By automating over 40 critical checks, from language clarity to detecting paper mill activity in AI-generated text, EditorialPilot serves as a powerful first line of defense, helping editorial teams ensure that submissions meet essential quality and integrity standards before moving to peer review. To walk us through how this technology is transforming the editorial landscape, I am honored to introduce Suresh Parandaman, Integra's Vice President of Publishing Solutions. Suresh is a publishing professional with a distinguished background in scholarly publishing, particularly in journals and books. With over 20 years of experience, he has excelled as a product owner, product manager, and business analyst in the publishing industry and has diverse experience spanning information services, publishing, ed tech, healthcare, and enterprise software. Suresh holds an MS in software systems engineering, combining technical prowess with an intimate understanding of publishing workflows. Also, during the presentation, please add your questions to the chat and they will be addressed during the Q&A portion, where you will also be able to raise your hand with questions and comments. Suresh, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So the format of this talk is going to be, first, I'm going to give a brief introduction about EditorialPilot, various modules that we have within EditorialPilot. And after that, I will do a quick demo of how EditorialPilot works, what kind of a report it can provide. And then towards the end, we will have a Q&A. So to start with, EditorialPilot is an AI-based manuscript assessment tool. This is primarily used in the scholarly academic publishing, journals, articles, and books. So the use case that I'm going to talk about today, primarily this is used in the upstream, which is the editorial process. It has got 4 or 5 modules. To start with the technical checks, it checks all the technical aspect in the manuscript. Then the research integrity related checks in the manuscript. It also checks the language quality, because you will have articles written by both native, non-native, to see whether the language is appropriate. And then the next module is metadata check. So predominantly the peer review systems that are being used is ScholarOne and Editorial Manager, and some custom publisher-owned peer review system, where it can validate the manuscript against the metadata that has been filled in the peer review system. The last module is the digital editing. What we mean digital editing here is, let's say, the language editing. The language quality is poor in the manuscript. The digital editing can automatically edit the manuscript by keeping the track changes in the document. So these are the various modules that we have in EditorialPilot. And so within the peer review process, so this can be used right at the submission stage when author submits the manuscript. It can do the checks at a high level, things that are available and not available in the manuscript. Later, after the submission, when it comes to the desk review, so there are checks that has been done during the JEO process. So those checks are being done in detail and provides a report. And then it goes to the peer review. So the decision has been made for the article. let's say if the article is accepted, we could also check post-acceptance check. So these are the various stages where editorial pilot can be used. Um, so now I'm going to get into the first module, which is the technical analysis. Um, so this basically does all the technical checks in the manuscript, like the content length, the availability of figures and tables and the citations and captions in the manuscript, the reference related, if there is any, um, um, you know, uh, for example, what is the style that has been used, how old the reference are, those kind of a thing. The title page check, which has got the title, author, affiliation, abstract, and keywords, and the proprietary methods, and the various disclosure statement that has been declared in the manuscript, those checks will be done. So we use a combination of AI and non-AI. The things that requires AI, we go and use the AI models. Otherwise, we use the rule-based option. So this is the screenshot of the technical checks while submission. So when I do a demo, we can deep dive into all that information. What you see here is the items that are in green. There is yellow alert warning, and if something that is not available, it can show you red as well. Like I mentioned, so it has got both AI and non-AI, depending upon the kind of check that is required. And it gives you the detailed summary report where it gives to the editorial team where they can take a look at the report and further drill down the manuscript based on that report. Um, so we have a configuration module where you can configure that at a journal level, at a title level, in terms of like, set, the way you wanted to set the limits and parameters that you wanted to look at in that report. So this is the technical checks, which is the first module. The second module is research integrity. So when the manuscript gets into editorial pilot, it can check for plagiarism check, image manipulation, validating the disclosure statement in the manuscript against the database and against based on the content, and author validity check and fair use checks. Um, a lot of this we look into certain databases in the manuscript. There are certain things where we have also partnered with some of the service providers who provide some of the research integrity checks. For example, image integrity check, we have integrated with Image Twin, scientific rigorous. So we've integrated ScienceCo into the platform. Similarly, for AI generated text in the text and the citation referent analysis and statistical validation. So we have integrated some of the third-party tools within the editorial pilot so that you get in one report, you get all the information. You don't have to go to different systems to check all that. So this is a screenshot of research integrity. So when I do a demo, we can look at this in detail. So the third module is language check. So when we do the technical checks or at the time of submission, we could also provide the language quality. So basically, it checks the grammar and spelling, the language consistency. So this is, when we submit the manuscript, it should be, when peer reviewer is reading the manuscript, so the language has to be acceptable form, right? So that's why we do the language check at the beginning, whether so the thresholds can be set based on the publisher requirements. So if it is pass, then it can go to the next step. If it fails, so you can use digital editing, or you could use a language polishing service from the existing vendor that you currently have. So currently, we have integrated all this with some of the submission systems, publisher hold. The fourth module that I wanted to talk about is metadata check. This is to do with some of the challenges which currently publishers have is like author feed in the details in the peer review systems like Scholar One and Editorial Manager. While they feed in those details, things could go wrong. And in the manuscript, you will have information something different, right? So what we try and do is we validate the metadata from the peer review system with the manuscript, and if there are any variations and differences, we could highlight it. Like, for example, the author name that has been entered in peer review system is different from the author name that is in the manuscript. So we can validate those metadata information between the system and the manuscript. So that can provide details, some of the actions that they need to take. Either they go update the metadata in the peer review systems or they correct in the manuscript, whichever that is appropriate. Then the last module, which is intensive digital edit. Um, so, like I mentioned, if the language score is poor or fail, author can use this service or publisher can use this service to automatically edit the manuscript with the track change. Again, so what we bring in here is when we do an edit, it edits only the places where it is required. So it does not change the entire sentence. So it edits the problematic errors which are really required to be changed. So we don't change or we don't try and change the author tone in the article in the sentences. So this is for basically for it preserves author original intent. It only looks for the grammar, punctuation, style, or better word choice for the readability. Um, so that's automatically done. So the input for this is Word, and you get the edited document. So this is the five modules. So what can also be done is we provide this in two things. One is we have an API. So where this can be integrated with your submission systems or peer review systems, where you can use this service for technical checks or research integrity check or the language check or automatically editing the manuscript. So you can use through an API, this service can be used, or we can also provide an user interface where you can drop the manuscript and get the output reports and the edited manuscript. We also provide some configurations to publishers where you can add journals to this. You can add or delete users who needs to have an access to the system, when it comes to the user interface. And then we can get into a configuration level, for example, at a journal level, what checks that you wanted to enable and what checks that you don't want to enable. So including technical checks, research integrity checks, and the metadata checks, we have about 100 plus checks that has been done and configured within the system. So if publisher wants to configure at a journal level, they can pick and choose the options and they can set it for that journal. So with that, I also wanted to talk about data security. I think so. The most important question is how data is secured, because you put the content, it goes into AI model, it gives you a report and so on. So how secured it is. So if you look at it, this is multi-tenant architecture. So let's say, for example, when you use this application for different publishers, so there could be a different tenant for different publishers. So we have a separate storage buckets for each of the customer. So your data is not shared with other customer. And at the same time, we use Microsoft Azure. So when the data is shared, when we use an AI model. So your data is not trained for any of the module to be trained, or your data is not exposed to any AI models or trained on that. So it is completely ring fenced. So it's completely encrypted. And also we also use, in terms of connectivity, we use VPN gateways. We also have all the firewall restrictions, where if we have to use it. So if we have to host it, but so we have all options, like it can be hosted at a publisher end or it can be hosted on our end. So we can provide multiple options. The point that I wanted to make is that the data that is, or the articles that are submitted, it is not consumed by any AI modules, or the data is not shared with any other the tenants. So that's the point that I wanted to make. With that, I would like to start a demo to show you how the whole system works. Like I mentioned, I said you have an API method to integrate the services, or we can also use web interface. So I'm going to pick up the web interface for the demo today. Um, so what you see here is a web interface. So like I mentioned, you can use this module in at the time of submission, or at the editorial desk review, or post acceptance. So I'm going to take a use case of editorial desk because it combines a lot of checks so that the checks will be little detailed here. So what we can do here is we can choose the journal code. So we can browse the manuscript or drag and drop the manuscript that is required to be um, performed. So let me go to my desktop, and I'm going to use the manuscript that I wanted to upload. So I use this manuscript, click this, and so the manuscript will be automatically processed, and then you will see, it's getting processed when I refresh it. It's get uploaded here, and I'm going to pick up the article that is processed. Just a minute, yeah. So I'm going to show you the report. I'm just opening the report here. So the manuscript that I've uploaded, if you look at it, it says that the language score, this is the report that you would get. It's a consolidated report for technical aspect, the language aspect, as well as the research integrity. So the first thing that it shows is the language quality is good, which is 91 percentage. And you could also see a summary page which talks about very high level what is available, what is not available. For example, we can set the abstract length. Let's say if the abstract length is 250 words, is the as per the journal requirement. So it can alert and say that what's the number of words. And this configuration you can do it at a journal level. Title length is 14 words, and age of reference, there is about 27 percentage of the reference is greater than 10 years. There is no reference is cited in the abstract. The number of reference, what is the reference styles, consistency, this is good, like it's only 3 percentage. Um, if there is any self citation in the reference, or all the reference are cited in the document. um, so there are more than 6 authors they have used at all. Maybe it's a APA style. Is there any references from the retraction? So that will also give you, we look at the retract database and provide that. So any proprietary methods that are used, brand names, copyright materials that are there, figures, number of figures that are available, how many are cited, if there are any uncited. So that will provide all those information. And it'll also talk about the information that is required in the title page, whether it is available or not. Similarly, all the disclosure statement, whether it is available or not. That's the first level of summary. Then it gets into little more detail in terms of whether abstract is present, and we use an AI to see whether it is a clear reflection of the abstract with the full manuscript and the vice versa. Similarly, what is available in the title page, data availability, not only saying that data is available, so it goes into further details, first level and the second level. The code availability, keywords that are present in the manuscript, whether they have used any assessment tools that are referred in the manuscript, figures and tables, citations, reference. It'll also give you further which reference, no self citation. If there were, it'll list down the reference. Then comes the research integrity, where it talks about authorship criteria, conflict of interest, whether the authors or the article that got submitted, authors are from sanctioned country, any spoofed email is used in the manuscript, whether the author has got multiple ORCIDs, uh, any of the authors were listed in the retract database in that manuscript. Um, and then funding details and the funding ID. If there is any medical related, so consent to participation statement that is there in the manuscript, if there is such type of a content, ethical approval, whether if there is any consent to publish statement is there or not, supplement materials, clinical trial details in the manuscript, is the manuscript is blinding, because when it goes for a peer review, so we need to mask all those information. Is there any AI generated text? So that gives you, we can see about, it is 48 percentage, right? So the lower the score, the greater the probability that AI was used in the content it got generated. So it gives you idea of, how much has been used. Image manipulation in this document, I've not uploaded, but Image Twin will give a report showing that if there is any problematic in those images. And then science rigor, so it gives you a report. So these are some of the integrations that we have done so that you will be able to get the report immediately, and then you can look at it, and this report will also give how to improve paper with some of the information that are not available. So you get that from this report. So if you look at the uh, sorry, I wanted to go back to this one. Yeah. So this gives you the comprehensive report. So you can see everything here. And this can be customized at a journal level. We can add based on publisher requirement. We can add further more checks that are required for your needs. So that's what the technical check, research integrity check, the language checks and happens. So I wanted to show another, this is a pre-flight. So, the same report, you would see it here in this. And I would like to show, maybe I would like to pick up an article with uh, where you have a less score. I wanted to show something that is edited. So here, this particular manuscript, the language score is poor, and so it got automatically edited. I can show you the document, um, the 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 automatic edited documents. So I would like to, yeah, 1 minute. I'll bring that here and show it. Yeah. So this is the automatically edited one. Like I said, it'll only look for grammar, spelling, and making the sentence better if needed. So this is the automatically edited document that you could see. So with this, so I've done all the 5 modules, just to kind of recap what I was saying. Uh, so, it does technical check, research integrity, the language check, and metadata. If I have the metadata details, as an XML, so I can compare and show. And then finally, I showed how the Word document got edited. So this is pretty much about editorial pilot. So with this, we can go ahead with Q&A section.
Great. Thank you, Suresh. Does anyone have any questions to start? You can enter them in the chat. You could raise your hand. Well, if not, I can get it started with the first question. With AI generated text evolving so quickly, how does EditorialPilot stay ahead of the curve in detecting sophisticated AI prompts or paper mill patterns?
Yeah. So if you look at it, yeah, we've started with about 30 checks in a year back, and today we are about 100 plus checks. So what we look at is we look at continuously looking at some logics, tools, and database behind these checks. We have, like I mentioned, we have also partnered with some of the service providers who are specialized in those niche areas. Like rather than we do everything, but what is available, what is best, what is proven. So we pick up and then we integrate that here. For example, one of the checks is like, detecting the AI generated text, right? So as the service provider core offering, that's we went and, partner with them. We have integrated it. So similar to this, we continuously look for options, either Integra own developed AI checks that we can do with respect to research integrity, or something that is available, partner with associations where something that is special and niche, we integrate that here. So for end user, we provide a comprehensive a report comprising of that. So that's my answer to that, Sophie.
Great. Thank you, Suresh. And anyone else? Okay, well, we do actually only have a minute left. In closing, that's all the time we have. And I want to thank Suresh for sharing his expertise and giving us a closer look at how EditorialPilot is streamlining initial checks, reducing the manual workload for editorial offices, and maintaining integrity standards. If you have any more questions or want to see how this works with your own workflow, you can contact Suresh directly or visit EditorialPilot's website to book a demo. We will also be sending out the recording of today's session to all registered attendees. Thank you all for your time and for the vital work you do in scholarly publishing, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for your time.